Hi, it's me, Sam. We're back with the second part of the Brick City Planet tutorial. To recap, we're making a little capture the flag team PvP space. Last time we covered the basic settings, moving and keeping players in the starting area and letting them pick teams. This time we're gonna add a condition for starting the match and build the standard interactions for capturing the flag and bringing it back to your home base to score points. So let's go back to the scene overview. Add a new rule and pick interface. There's only one rule here that says on Captain Menu command activation. If we create a new action here, it shows up in the Captain menu as we write it here, so careful with the spelling. For the match we're gonna need a whole different set of rules. The easiest way to get that is move the game to a new scene. So let's select move to play scene and pick scene 2. This scene will have all our match gameplay. If you test the game now, we have a new button on top of the screen. This is the captain menu that only the first player who joined the room has access to. Tap start game and now we are in scene 2. Well, everything looks the same because we haven't made any new rules yet, but if we walk over to the edge, you can see we fall down again, even though we placed invisible borders in the last video. That's because rules, areas and props only apply to the scene where they are created. So if you switch to scene 2 in the editor, all the areas we set up are gone. Go back to scene 1 and there they are again. So when we start the match, the first thing to do is move all the players to the main area. We have a blue platform to serve as a base for team 2 and a yellow one for team 4, as those are the colors for these two teams. Let's add an area for each. I'm calling this one Y-Base for short. Make sure it matches the size of the base. And the base for the blue team. In fact, we want to make these a bit smaller to make sure it only counts as the base when the players are on the platform. And raise them in the air just a little bit. Now we can move the players here when scene 2 starts. In scene 2, in the play scene category, we select after loading play scene. Then we add a move player to area action just like last time. Since we want to move each team to a different area, we can pick entire team here. Team 2. So now we have to set up a placeholder for the target area again. B-base for the blue base. Tap on it and link it to the B-base area we've already placed. You see these actions say random base, so we could also set up more than one spawn point for each team and players will be placed randomly between those. Actually, let's get back and add area to the area names so we don't get them mixed up with the parameter names later. So let's test it. Pick Team Blue and start the game. And here we are. Next, let's add some flags to be captured. I've included 2 little platforms to place them in each base. But I've kept them empty, because if you build things into our city, we cannot change them during the game. Instead, we're gonna add them as props into our scene. Tap another empty slot on the right side menu. This time we're adding a prop. And here we have a ton of different special bricks to pick from. Functional ones are the ones that have special interactions for the players, but in basic props we have a lot more choices. There aren't any matching color flag bricks in the game so far. But we have these 2 statues, one in yellow and one blue. First, let's pick the blue one. Then add another prop for the yellow one. Oops, I actually scrolled past it, let's go back. Okay, now that we have defined these 2 props, we can drag them into our game. Place the yellow one here. And the blue one here. Oh, this came out facing the wrong way, but we can pick rotate at the bottom to turn it around. If you want to keep things in right angles to match your buildings, it's a good idea to check snap rotation here, so it will only rotate in 45-degree steps. Now that we have our, well, not flags but statues, we can add rules to let players capture them. Tap on the statue, edit rules. Among the prop conditions, we have on-player collision with prop. This is triggered whenever a player touches it. We want to make several things happen here, but first we have to make sure it only happens when it's the other team's statue. So under player we can find if player is team. Here, entering player means the one who touched the prop. Since this is the blue statue, we pick the yellow team for. So what do we actually want to happen now? First, the player should have the statue right now. We can't actually make them carry it, but we can transform them into the statue. For that we use transform player into prop model. Once again, entering player, and if we tap prop model, we get to pick it again from the list. So we can transform the players into whichever prop we want. But the game doesn't actually know that this player has a flag now. In order to be able to remember and check that later, we need to create something called a variable. Tap the plus again to add another action under the same condition. Carefully don't accidentally tap the unindented plus and make a new condition. If you pick the variable category, there's 2 kinds of rules. Some are called scores and some are switches, and they're also divided into map and player variables. Scores are there to store numbers, while switches can only be set on or off. So let's make a player switch that's on if a player has the flag statue. We're still in the same tree, so we can pick aforementioned player again. Now we can create a new player switch. I'll just name it has flag, and we switch it on. When we make a new player switch, all players get their own switch with this name we can switch on or off. By default, all switches are off when they're created. Let's also give players who have the statue a little handicap, so it isn't too easy to get back to the base. Using override player settings, we can change stats, such as player speed, so we make players carrying the statue a little bit slower. Let's change it to 60. Let's also assume they have both hands full now, so we'll take away their attack. We can add the same action several times with different values. If you set attack type to disabled, the entering player cannot attack anymore. One more thing to do here, we should take the statue out of the game while the player has captured it, so multiple players cannot catch it at the same time. Under prop actions we could use remove, but then we'd have to worry about placing it at the same space again later, so it's easier to just disable it. Disabled props are essentially gone as far as the players are concerned, but the game still knows where they are, so that's handy for later. Finally, it would be good for players to know a statue has been captured. So let's add a little message for players too. Everything that's about displaying information is found under Interface. We can send a global message in a news ticker format to all players, but there can only be one of those at a time, so we pick the message to player option instead and just select all players here. When we create a new message, we are only typing a reference name for the message here, so we can keep it short. Once again, this then shows up in the parameters list where we can enter the actual message text. So let's say blue statue has been captured. Now we have to do the same for the yellow team statue. I'm speeding up the video here so you can pause it if you want to check something. We just need to make sure that we now make the condition if entering player is team 2 instead of 4, and pick the yellow statue for all settings that apply. Let's check out the results. Making my way across the maze. Picking up the statue, and I'm transformed and the original statue is gone. So no players can pick up the statues, but we still need to make it so they can be brought to the other base for points. Since we already have areas for each team's base, we don't need to make any new ones. Just tap the area in the side menu and go to Edit Rules. We'll use onPlayer Enter Area, just like we did when we made the team selection in the first part. First, we check if the player who entered is from the right team. But we also need to know if they currently have the flag. That's where the switch we made earlier comes in. This time we use the rule that checks if a switch is on or off. They're easy to mix up, so make sure it's the right one. You can nest conditions by adding them using the plus that's directly below the previous one. So if the entering players has flag switches on, their team should score a point and the statue get returned to its base. For shared team score, we use the map score that's available for the entire game. We have this rule that might look a bit cryptic, but simply means we can change a number with it. First, we create a new map score. Call it Y score for the yellow team. Now we want to add 1 to this each time a player brings home a statue. So for the number we pick fixed number and enter 1. An arithmetic operation just means either plus, minus, multiplied or divided by. We pick the plus and now the result simply says y score plus 1. Next, we have to reset everything we changed when a player picked up the statue. First, we need to switch off the player's has flag switch, so they don't keep triggering the same event again and again. Using revert player appearance to MyPo, we can turn them into their original form again. We also have to make sure to restore the player's speed and attack. We can do that in one sweep using restore all settings for player. Finally, we set up another message to display. Once again, we can type the actual text later. And we also need to change the original prop back to enabled, or otherwise there will be no more statue to capture after the first one. Once again, we need to set the same sequence of events for the other base, changing around the team and statue references. It's easy to get details wrong here, so it's always good to double check everything and run tests often. So let's do our final test for today. Gonna try the Yappa path this time. Oh, the hammer knocked me straight back down. Alright, it's a maze again. Since I'm slower now, let's not even try upstairs. Back in the base and yeah, score! But there's no way of knowing how many points my team has now. And there's not much the other team can do to stop me either. So let's take a little break, and in the next video we're going to add some interface components that let you know you're actually in a competition and combat. We're gonna get some use for those nice rubber hammers we got. See you soon!